All right, Shalom, all praises to YAHAWAH BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI BAHASHAM, QADASH. Double honors to the elders and apostles who rule well, and salutations to the 12 scattered abroad. This is part 2 of how to tell if you're still in captivity, going into the lack of sovereignty and the loss of heritage. All right, so sovereignty, matter of fact, no, I'll just read it. Sovereignty refers to the supreme authority or power that a state or governing entity possesses within its own boundaries. It it encompasses the ability to govern independently without interference from external forces. In the context of nations, sovereignty signifies the full right and power to govern itself, make laws, enforce them, and engage in diplomatic relations with other states or countries. All right, so the key aspects of sovereignty include territorial control, which implies control over a defined territory, including both land and waters within recognized borders. Political independence, which is the right to make decisions regarding the internal affairs without external interference or influence. Legal autonomy, which is the authority to establish laws and regulations that apply within its jurisdiction and to enforce these laws through its legal system. Recognition as an independent political entity. So recognition is a part of aspect of sovereignty. External relations, which is the capacity to engage in diplomatic relations, sign treaties, and participate in international organizations as a representative entity. All right, so the Israelites today, we do not have any of these aspects of sovereignty. Okay, and this video is not for the naysayers. This is not for the gainsayers. This is for the people who subscribe to the truth, and I'm just speaking it and filtering through the spirit, through the scriptures and through the spirit of Yahawah BaHashem YAHAWASHI. So if you're not interested in that, then this video might not be for you. But if you are subscribing to truth, then stay, and Lord willing, you'll be edified. All right, so here are some more signs of being subjects, servants, or slaves. And this is really basically the same thing. Usually when people hear slave, they think of chattel slavery, which is, you got the whips, you beating on your servants. When people think of servants, they think of like someone who maybe fans the king or something like that. But it's essentially, they're all, basically the same thing. You're a subject. You're subjected. You're under a ruler. If you, you've ever heard the term public servant, right? You got police, firemen. Those are servants because they serve a purpose. All right. So here are some signs of being subjects. All right, your state or driver license, birth certificates, social security, passports, paying taxes, tribute, following your captor's government, or I should say, your captors, which are your oppressors, because we know we're living in oppression as well. Following their laws, traffic, traveling laws, you know, there's a law that you have to pay for car insurance, right? We have to follow that in order to move around. Like that's oppression. You know what I'm saying? You're in captivity. Money, the money and its value are determined by your captor. Okay. Rulers that are not of your own race, and I think I spoke about this my last video, our ruler is not of our own nationality. You know, that's how you could tell that you are under subjection, in captivity, and you're being oppressed. All right, so we were brought to this country and forced to become citizens of their nation after full colonization. I'm talking about America specifically, in which I'm in Babylon the Great right now, right? All right, so the USA, this USA nation was established by its founding fathers in 1776, right? When they broke off from the British Empire, or whatever you want to call it, and made their own country. So, and we know that they were all Edomites, or so-called white people, and they created the Constitution as the foundation of America, right? Establish, you know, the foundation, right, to how to run this country. That was the Constitution was for. But of course, they had no intentions to take their slaves, right, the so-called black people, the Negroes, the so-called Native Americans. They had no intentions to set them free or take them back to where they brought them from. But they only continued to use the Israelites, right? I'm gonna just say their native heritage. They continue to use them to build up the nation that you see today, with no recompense, no compensation, no nothing like that. So now, ever since the completion of the building of their nation's infrastructure, the former slaves received privileges of some form of freedom from chattel slavery, right? So we went from just being, you know, some of us, a lot of our people was picking cotton, right? We went from that to sharecropping, and then eventually, as time went on, we were able to receive some civil right crumbs. Like we were able to be, of course, they definitely was in the military, like, you know, for the Civil War and the other wars that we had in America. But you know, of course, they were able to eventually be public servants and things of that nature. But it started from chattel slavery, where it was just brutal, you know, and you know, antebellum period, brutal. Even in the 20th century, when we have free, so you know that the leash, I say the leash or the chains were loosened a bit, you know, all the way up to the civil rights era, the 1960s. All right, but in no way, shape, or form was the Constitution created with any interest in the people that they enslaved and murdered and did whatever they wanted to do, because they looked at them as less than human. Okay, and I'm going to read. This is going to be the first verse, Deuteronomy 28:68. It says, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you." All right, so what the verse I just read is a curse, right? In which really this prophecy has been fulfilled due to the transatlantic slave trade, right? Or otherwise known as the Middle Passage or the Triangle slave trade, you know, those different names. But this is describing the transatlantic slave trade, okay? And it says bring into Egypt again with ships. And it says again because Egypt just means bondage. All right. Matter of fact, let me see. But Egypt is associated with bondage. That was our first place of captivity for 400 years. All right. And we came here to America, which if you look on the infrastructure, you got the Washington Monument. There's a lot of signs to tell that this is Egypt all over again, but it's spiritual. This is called spiritual Egypt in the scriptures. All right. And this is the land of our captivity, right? The main land of our captivity, Egypt, where all the tribes are at. And when it says will be sold unto our enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, that happened as well. It was sold all around the world, sold here in Babylon the Great, or spiritual Egypt, or spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah. And where it says no man shall buy you, that's talking about being redeemed. No man is going to redeem us, which is why none of these civil rights activist organizations work, because this is a spiritual thing. Okay. So like I said, the land of America is also known as spiritual Egypt. If you look on the back of your dollar, you see the pyramid, you see the Egyptian pyramid, right? You see, you even see Roman numerals too, as well on the dollar, to show you that this is Rome all over again as well. But Egypt means bondage. And in ancient Egypt, the Israelites were forced to serve and build their economy as parallel to modern America. All right, so let's go to Exodus 1. So we were also, my ancestors, right? They built up America as well. And this is just like ancient Egypt. All right, this is Exodus 1, verse 13. It says, and the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. All right, there's no new thing under the sun. This thing has happened before, and it happened again. All right, it says, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, right, in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. All right. So it was a high demand. The economy of Egypt was booming. All right. So, we were, my ancestors were working, you know, hard, just like they did in America, being just put to work like a beast. All right. And being raised up in this system, they make it to where you will not have any substance without working in this society, right? And you cannot work to get the substance in this system without having any skills. And you cannot get any skills unless you were taught by their system so that they can put you in the field of work. So this is all like a cycle of systematic or systemic oppression, right? You can't do one without the other, and we go to them for the want of all things. So all access to resources are regulated by our oppressor, and they do not teach you to live without them. They don't teach you to be self-sufficient, to survive off the land itself. They teach you the skills that are akin to propagating their own economy, their kingdom. The only way they can further their economy is by the consumers, the buying and selling of products and services, in which we also were considered products, right? And as a part of services as well. So they teach us how to survive in their system and not how to survive outside of their system. And if we go back to Deuteronomy 28, I'm gonna read, we go to 48, Deuteronomy 28 and 48. Where the curse is a sign of our captivity. We depend on the oppressor for resources of food, water, and clothing. I'm gonna read it again, like I read it in the last video. This is Deuteronomy 28:48. Therefore shalt thou serve your enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck until he have destroyed thee. All right. So we have been destroyed since Since we did not get compensated and left empty-handed, we were left empty-handed, which according to the law of Moses, this is unlawful. We were only left to continue serving the United States oppressors by having to actively participate in their system. The enslaved were not able to go to a country or receive any type of territory or sovereignty to set up their own government and laws, economic system, educational system, so on and so forth. Instead, they had no choice but to still follow their oppressors in the want of all things, right? And we couldn't even, every time we would build our own habitation or Black Wall Street or economy, or try to thrive and prosper with our own textiles, factories, and society, civilization in our own little area, it would always get destroyed. Why? Because first and foremost, the them devils, right? But essentially, it's just the effect of the curses. Like like it said, no man shall buy you. So you can't. No matter how much money our people made to help our community, it couldn't buy us out of captivity. It couldn't redeem us, right? You can't redeem us. How you gonna redeem yourself in the land of your captivity with your captor's money, his monetary system? They're not gonna let you just be over them. They're not gonna let you just get above them. One of the curses was to be the tail and them being the head. One of the curses was being to be low and for them to be high above us. So no matter what, us trying to get some type of relief by separating ourselves, it always got infiltrated and destroyed every time we had these so-called black towns to prosper on our own. It just wasn't happening. All right, so let's go to Deuteronomy 15 to show according to the law of holding someone as a servant. Verse 13, and when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. All right, so eventually we were so-called freed, right? Freed. Matter of fact, slavery was abolished at one point, I believe in the 1800s, sometime then. But I know there was an Emancipation Proclamation, and then there was a full abolishment of slavery. But we do based on the law, which this is supposed to be a God, a country that was built off Christian principles, right? They don't even apply the law to themselves. So it says, and when thou sendest him out free, right? This is talking about a servant. Of course, this is within our personal law, not personal, but our civil laws. But this still applies. The law it applies, right? It says, and when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. We were let go empty. Verse 14, thou shalt furnish him liberally out of your flock and out of your floor and out of your winepress, of that wherewith YAHAWAH your power hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. All right, so we didn't receive that 40 acres and a mule. We didn't receive any substance such as cattle and wine, grapes and land, right? We didn't receive any of that. No compensation. All right, so that they pretty much said forget that law. All right, so through contracts and licenses, we are still subjected to being a citizen of Babylon the Great USA. We are subjected to their laws and their rules. We have to abide by their decrees of the land in order to survive. We are dependent on them and have no resources to be independent. We have to use their money system, their currency, with their face on it in order to eat, drink, be clothed, and sheltered, right? Because they only take what money. This is not there's no bartering system. There's no trade system. You have to work for their money to buy their resources. We abide by their traffic laws, the stop sign, the yield sign, the speed limits. We are and you're imprisoned if you fail if a failed attempt to draft someone to the military happens. So if you decide you're not trying to go to the military after they put out a draft, guess what? You got to go to prison. That is a sign of you in captivity. All right. Let's go over to Hebrews because this verse actually really echoes the fact that it's the truth. The truth that we are still subjected. No matter if you believe you free, you're behind enemy lines. You're still in the land of your captivity. This is Hebrews 13, verse 14. It says, "For here have we no continuing city, but we seek one to come." All right, so I'm going to read that again. It says, "For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come." All right, so anytime there was an attempt to branch off, like I said, from the oppressor to build our own nation with our own resources, of course, we got it from them. Factories, education, healthcare, grocery stores, they stopped it from thriving by destroying the people in the city. Drown towns, they would set them on fire, they would bomb us, things of that nature. They would not allow the city, right, to continue, but further forced us to be subjected under their system through and through. Ultimately, of course, like I said, it's just the curses taking over Edom, Esau, Edom, the so-called white people, right, that gave themselves that nationality. They're actually considered the sword, right? In the scriptures, they actually live by the sword. That's how they're able to have power. And of course, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, he uses them as a sword to punish us as well. So the oppressors, them devils, they made no account of our labors. The fact that the slaves built this country and was not compensated for it, even still today is a sign that we are still in captivity and being oppressed. All right. Going back to Deuteronomy 28 and 33. It says, "The fruit of your land and all your labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed away." So every time that we try to be prosperous and be fruitful and, work, what they say, lift yourself up by your bootstraps and so on and so forth, it was eaten up. We was crushed away. We was more oppressed. They passed legislations. They redlined us. They used all types of forces to keep us from building our own country, from building our own, I should say, flourishing society. Okay. But essentially, this is saying that you will never be anything but oppressed and exploited, making capital out of and crushed continually. All right. And this is how you can also tell that, we are the true Israelites, because nobody cares. Like, especially, I'm saying specifically to other nations, they don't care we being oppressed. All right. They don't care that, we haven't received reparations or anything, like, even though all the other nations, they received their reparations. This is Jeremiah 15 and 5. It says, "For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem, or who shall bemoan thee, or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest?" All right. Read it in the NLT. It says, who will feel sorry for you, Jerusalem? Who will weep for you? Who will even bother to ask, how are you? How you are? All right. No other nation really gives a damn how we are, you know, what we had to go through, the fact that we're still oppressed, the fact that we're not able to um, gain momentum in this society. The fact that you know, even our social status is, of course, is we're the tail. You know, we're low in the lowest state. We own nothing. Everything you do on your own has regulations to it, and this is a pure form of systemic oppression. Okay, let's go to Lamentations 1. It says 1 verse 1, how doth the city sit solitary that was full of people? How is she become as a widow, she that was great among the nations? We were once great among the nations, and princess among the provinces. How is she become tributary? So we was once highly exalted. We had the preeminence. We was over the other nations. We was once over the whole earth, but now we are a slave. We are paying tributary. Okay, tributary is a tax in the form of forced labor. The average life expectancy where I live in America is about 76 years old. By the time you're 67 years old in America, you can receive social security retirement benefits. So you basically have to work till you're dead, okay? This is a sign of being in captivity. You work and you work and you get Social Security garnished from your wages for over 40 years just to not really benefit off of it at all. All right. So we vote. Also, we vote for politicians in office to oppress us. We're basically choosing our oppressors. All right. To try and choose the lesser evil. Okay. We're under subjection to the laws of the land, but based on our law and customs, we are to never choose from heathen nations to rule over us. Is, you know, that's actually against the law. Our law is unlawful for us to even choose um, a ruler if they're not from our own nation. Okay. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. It says, "As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of your paths." All right, so we got children, leaders, really just, you know, when it says children, it's talking about people who have a childish mindset, who they don't have the mindset to lead, right? Their mind is, you know, the growth and development of their mind is like a child compared to how we're supposed to be ruling. Okay. And then women, it says women rule over them too. So we also, you go to your workplace, you got managers over men, you got CEOs over men. You just have a lot of disorderliness, a lot of folly set in great dignity. And it's just all out of order, right? It causes our people to err. You know, you got women and women politicians, mayors, and things of that nature, and you see how society is led. You see that it's not actually uh, helping us to propel. You know what I'm saying? I say having women rule over the people, over men especially, is not building the nation. Okay, you need the men to be the leaders, like it was set up, supposed to be set up, right? Matter of fact, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 17. Let's go to the law. Deuteronomy 17, verse 15, it says, thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom Yahweh your power shall choose. One from among your brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not your brother. Okay, so brothers are supposed to be the leaders, the kings over our people, or the rulers and the leaders. No women are supposed to be ruling over men, and we're not supposed to be choosing strangers over us. But this is another sign just to show you that we're in captivity. All right. All right, let's see. So our heritage, right, was beaten out of us. Let me go to Maccabees. Our heritage was beaten out of us, and we were reformed, right? And even given a nationality by our oppressors who are ruling over us. And a lot of this stems back from ancient Greek civilization or rulers. A lot of Western civilization culture is influenced from the Greco-Roman Empire, right? The Greeks and the Romans, which were of the Edomites. All right, this is First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his law. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. All right, so this has happened again. You know, we are now we have become citizens of America. All right, so we have to follow their laws. It says, yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. All right, so this goes into their so-called holy days as well. You know, and that's just like today. We got Christmas, Thanksgiving. We got the Easter, which is dealing with, you know, the bunny rabbit and the eggs, which makes no sense. It has nothing to do with the truth of the scriptures. All right, it's just paganism. All of these things are their religion, part of their religion, and sacrificing unto idols. You know, Thanksgiving. It says, verse 44, for the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. It says in verse 44. Oh no, that's it right there. Yeah, so we were we follow these strange laws of the land, okay? Pretty much. We don't have autonomy. We're not sovereign to make our own laws, to be our own judges. We have to follow their laws. And this has happened before during the Greek Empire, and this is happening now, right? We were to discontinue from our own laws, from our own heritage, which consists of our culture, our laws. Let's see, Jeremiah 17, verse 4, it says, and thou even thyself shall discontinue from your heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve your enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. All right, so this is the same, basically a part of the curse that we serving our enemies, right? But this time, we also have discontinued from our heritage. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 28. This is verse 37. It says, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. All right, so every nation, matter of fact, let's take a look at this picture. So every nation has their own version of a byword toward the Israelites scattered in their country. The oppressors are also in charge of and has influence over these social constructs. So black was given to us, Jamaican, Afro-Cuban, Guyanese, Dominicans, Trinidadians, Sambo, Afro-Caribbeans, Creole, mulattoes, Moors, Barbadians. These are all names that are bywords, but actuality as well too. Each country too has their own way of what do you call it? Derogatory names that they call us as well. But essentially, what I'm trying to get to the point is the fact that our nationality changed based on wherever country that we were scattered to, right? So you got the Hispanics, you got the Baham Bahamians. I'm probably butchering that. Bahamians, the Guyanese, Puerto Ricans, Afro Latinos, Panamanians. Okay, those are just a few of the bywords that we were, even Haitians, African Americans. That's a big byword over here in Babylon the Great. All right. So not only was our heritage beaten out of us and we were given a new nationality, we were also indoctrinated with their teachings of the Bible and forced to serve their version of God in Christianity form. They forced their religion on the slaves, and now people worship Jesus, who is made in their image and in the likeness of their image, a likeness of themselves, like the Edomites, the devils. So these are the gods that our fathers never knew. That Jesus character that you see when you searching in Google and you see what pop up, you'll see the vibration of this whole earth, what is on. It's in the image of our oppressor, right? As soon as you put, so that name in the image is actually a psyop against us. It's like a psychologically makes us, well, not me per se, but a lot of our people, they associate Jesus with, this is a subconscious thing. They associate Jesus with the so-called white man, okay? Because the image that they use, and this is a deep psychological thing. It's spiritual too as well, because they're considered the God of this world, which God just means like ruler, okay? Power. The beasts of this earth are considered superpowers. But yeah, the God of this world have blinded them. So they think that his name is Jesus, which the name of the son of Yahawah is YAHAWASHI, okay? That's the Paleo Hebrew. That's his real name, okay? The original Hebrew. All right, this is Deuteronomy 28:64. It says, and Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou your fathers have known, even wood and stone. All right, so our forefathers did not know a Jesus, a name. They never knew a name called Jesus. They never, even the image behind that name, right? But the English is the standard name as the top influencer language in the world. Okay, so our fathers, they never knew this Jesus character. They knew YAHAWASHI, right? Hamashiach, the anointed, but they didn't know this Jesus character. Okay, all right, I'm a Salakia. All right, I'm gonna go to one last couple verses and I'm gonna close out. This is Ezekiel 34. Verse 12. But this how you can tell that we in captivity. We speak in the language of our captors. A lot of our people are serving their gods, worshiping their holidays, going into idolatry, so on and so forth, because we were scattered. All right, this is Ezekiel 34, verse 12. It says, as a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered, so will I seek out my sheep and will deliver them out of all places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day. The cloudy and dark day is talking about the day of the Lord, okay? The day that we will be redeemed. All right, Lord willing, I be of that number, because he's talking about the elect. It says, and I will bring them out from the people and gather them from the countries and will bring them to their own land and feed them upon the mountains of Israel by the rivers and in all the inhabited places of the country. All right, so eventually we will be redeemed and be gathered from all the countries that we have been scattered to, that have been given those byword names, right? Remember Haitian, Jamaican, Puerto Rican, Panamanian, Barbadian, Trinidadian, all the Caribbeans, and all the other countries that we have been scattered to. We're going to be delivered from those countries. We're going to be gathered back into our native land, and we're going to rule, over all the other nations. All right. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH, Shalom.